Hello and welcome back. So here we're just going to finish up part D of this first problem. At this point we've gone through this data set and identified all of the different components of the table, identifying the data set, the elements, and the variables. Part C, we went through the more challenging task of describing the measurement scale and defining what those different measurement scales are. And having done so, that will actually make part D a little bit easier to deal with when we consider whether or not variables are quantitative or categorical in nature. So I'm just going to go through a bit of a graphic to help illustrate this, and then we'll come back, and it should be relatively straightforward, I hope, to identify these particular variables in terms of whether they're quantitative or categorical. So if we begin with the big picture, which starts off with our data set, any variable within that data set is either a categorical variable or it's a quantitative variable. Okay, a categorical variable, it can be either numerical or it can be non-numerical. Okay, quantitative variable, on the other hand, can only be numerical. As the name suggests, it's quantitative, it's a quantity, it's measuring something specific, how much or how many of something. So this one has to be numerical. If it is a categorical, it can go either way. Now, having just discussed the measurement scales, well, I know, I'm missing an L, I know that the only variables that can be non-numerical are either ordinal variables or nominal variables. So an ordinal variable or a nominal variable, these can be non-numeric and they are all categorical. They allow me to categorize or group different data points together, or group different elements together based on these particular categories. This is the same if it's a numeric code that is being used. So again, this is either ordinal or nominal. Okay, so if we've identified a variable as being either ordinal or nominal, then I know it must be categorical. Quantitative variables, well, they have to be numeric. They have to be measuring a quantity of something, how much, how many. This is either going to be an interval or a ratio. So if I know that something is ratio data, I know that it must be quantitative. If I know something is nominal, it must be categorical, and so on. So if we come back up to our data point where our data set, where we've already identified everything based on its measurement scale. Well, here I have, here's a ratio. This must be quantitative. This ratio is quantitative. All of these ratio variables must be quantitative, and I also know that interval variables are quantitative. So there we've got all of our quantitative variables. And finally, I know that nominal variables and ordinal variables, they must be categorical. Okay, so it's relatively straightforward. Once we've identified the measurement scales of each of these, it makes it a little bit easier to classify them as quantitative or categorical. My students always pick out my spelling mistakes for me. You don't have that luxury. So hopefully I'll spot all of my spelling mistakes as we go. Another common name for categorical variable is also something that is qualitative. You'll often see those two words used interchangeably, so hopefully you won't get thrown off when you see qualitative sometimes throughout this course. So that completes question 1.1a of this problem set, which had 4 parts of its own. So hopefully this helps you better understand different measurement scales and different types of data that we're going to be working with. And this concludes the set of videos for the first question in this series. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.